Thinking of paying off your mortgage? Let's go through the list of considerations whether you should or you shouldn't be paying off your mortgage. Hi, I'm Amol Heda with Keller Williams Bay Area Estates and author of Thriving Through Ownership. So I hear a lot of people, they feel very stressed when they are paying their mortgage. Each month they have to go in, bring in that money to pay their mortgage payment, or to make their mortgage payment each month. I bet a lot of people find it very stressful. I think it's like if you're going to go drive or if you're going to live, you need to pay for your food, you need to pay for your health care, and you need to pay for your insurances. Just similarly, you will need to pay for living in a house. And so the first step that people feel that they are on solid ground is when they buy a home. And then their first attempt or their best effort that they put is to get their mortgage paid off. Should you even be doing that? So let's talk about it. Here are the considerations. Number one, if I were not to get a mortgage when I first bought my home, I would probably never be able to afford a home, even to buy one. So mortgages are extremely essential. What happens with that? You get leverage out of buying by using a mortgage. What do I mean by leverage? Say you bought a home for $1 million, you're only paying $200,000 if you are doing the 20% down payment. If you are doing the 15 or 10, you're only buying the house with barely $100,000 or $150,000. So suppose you have a home for $1 million, you're controlling $1 million worth of a property for barely $100,000 to $200,000. I think that control, that leverage makes me feel very powerful. So that's number one. Yes, you will say that, oh, I have to pay interest and I have to keep paying that amount back. So when you make the mortgage payment, make no mistake, Zillow and Redfin just show you a big number which includes the interest and the principal. So they call it the equated monthly payments or the monthly mortgage payment. Guess what? Initially, a large chunk of that payment is interest. I completely understand, but you pay interest only on the portion of the payment that you don't own. So suppose your down payment is much bigger, the interest that you pay is much smaller. So you are actually paying only to use somebody else's money. You're not paying for the portion that has been paid off. So remember that you're paying the mortgage as two components. So your real expense is only the interest and not the principal. Principal is what you borrowed from the lender. You're giving them back in 360 small pieces. Just imagine, that guy gave you $1,800,000 out of the $1 million home, and you are giving him back $200, $300, and for the last payment, you are probably going to pay him $2,500 if your payment is $2,600 a month. You are giving them a whole cloth they gave you to make use of, and you are giving them cut pieces of the cloth. I think I would probably charge your service charge for allowing you to do that to my piece of cloth, that whole chunk of $800,000 that I gave you. But well, the lender charges you in today's high interest rate, that is what people call this 6.5% environment. You get that money to borrow and you get to use it. Now let me split it down into portions. So you have the interest component. So if you are paying, say, $800,000 is the principal amount, and you took 6% interest rate. I'm just rounding the number so that you don't have to keep thinking a lot. So 6% is $48,000 in interest per year. Okay? Now, this $48,000 you pay in the first year. Completely understand it's scary. But by the time you go down to the last year, you're paying barely $500 or $1,000 in the 30th year when you're paying them down. Now just follow me. So what is the average interest that you paid over the life of the loan to the lender? The average interest that you paid over the life of the loan to the lender is $2,000 per month. $48,000 per year translates to $4,000 a month. The last payment is going to be $0 per month, and so the average of these two numbers is $2,000 a month. So your interest that you paid is not $48,000 per year. It's not $0 per year. That interest is going to be $24,000 per year, which is $2,000 at this high interest rate. Now, can you imagine that the first 750K, the interest on the first 750K, which is about $45,000 or something, is completely tax deductible. So just imagine that you are in the 32% federal tax bracket and 9.3% state, you are 41% tax bracket. So out of the 6%, you're taking away $20,000 in tax deduction. And not just that, so $45,000 will be taken off on the interest, and $10,000 will be taken off because of the state and local taxes. So $55,000 are being deducted from your income, and just imagine how much are you getting tax back on $55,000? $24,000. So $2,000 you're getting back each month. So can you imagine that the $2,000 that you're paying in interest on an average over the 30-year period, you're actually getting back from Uncle Sam, at least until the time you keep your mortgage high. So whenever you're thinking of paying your mortgage down, think in these terms. You will not go wrong. Then, if you have a mortgage, imagine that lender gave you $800,000 today, and there is inflation of about 3%. It had been more like 9.5%, they say, during COVID, and now they say it is 2.2. So we'll just put an average number of 3%. So every year that $800,000 is getting devalued by 3%. So every year that $800,000 is losing value for the lender by $24,000 the first year. So by you keeping that money with you, you're actually paying him less, $24,000. So now just imagine the tax break, the inflation, and your ability to use that big chunk of money and invest it into something else that makes more money, makes more sense. If you still do not follow this video, feel free to schedule a call with me and I'll explain that to you. Now, if you took this chunk of money and invested into something else, say just treasuries, they are doing 5% just now. If you invest it into the Bay Area hot companies, I have some clients that say, oh, they are making 40% and upwards. Like Tesla stock is running up like nobody's business. Facebook went from 87 to 600 plus. And all these other companies, Broadcom, Netflix, are another story. So those people are making upwards of 40%. Would you think it appropriate to pay off this money, or rather keep it with you and be smart and be wise and invest it into something else? So, I hope I'm making some ideas for you, giving you some ideas here on how to work smart with your own money, or even better, on other people's money. I hope getting some ideas out of this. And don't forget, if you're not owning, if you're renting, you are not living fully into what the home that you deserve. We did not talk about the appreciation that comes out of real estate. Leveraged appreciation, that interest rate, the inflation actually keeps improving the value of your home. Thanks for watching. I hope you like this one. If you think this was helpful, please share with your friends. Subscribe and see you on my next one. Thanks. Bye.